Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to learn a lesson, My Beginnings. And this lesson is an autobiographical essay by none other than Kapil Dev, the legendary Indian cricketer who captained India to its first World Cup victory in 1983. The primary theme of the lesson is the journey from humble simplicity to extraordinary achievement. We can see the innocence of his childhood, the role of his family and environment, the transformation through passion, and also his youthful, naughty energy. So, now let's begin with the lesson. Looking back at my life, I have come to the conclusion that our beginnings never know our ends. For me, it all started in Chandigarh, a small town nestling in the foothills of the Himalayas. I was born on a cold winter morning. My mother, who is a simple woman, could not read the time, but she knew it was early in the morning. The date, 6th January 1959, was thankfully recorded because a cousin of mine was born on the same day, around the same time, and with the same name. I grew up among 6 other brothers and sisters, all older than me, except one sister who was a year younger. Now think of it like a tiny seed. When it's just a sprout in the dirt, it doesn't know it's going to become a giant, strong oak tree one day. When we are born or when we are kids, we have no idea how famous or successful we will become later. Kapil Dev grew up in a city called Chandigarh, which is right at the bottom of the big Himalayan mountains. Nestling makes it sound cozy, like the town is a baby bird tucked under the wing of the mountains. And it was chilly. Since Chandigarh is near the mountains, January mornings they are very frosty. His mom didn't use a watch or a clock to tell the exact time, but she could tell by the light outside and the feeling of the air that the sun was just starting to come up. Families back then didn't always write down birth dates perfectly, but because his cousin was born at almost the exact same moment and was also named Kapil, the family made sure to write it down so they wouldn't forget. Kapil was the second to last child. Having that many older siblings usually means a lot of playing, a bit of fighting over toys, and never being lonely. He lived in a very full house. He had 7 siblings in total. So Kapil Dev is telling us that he started out as a normal boy in a normal busy family. He didn't have a golden spoon or a map telling him he'd be a world champion. He was just a kid in a cold town with a lot of brothers and sisters. My mother always regales me with tales of my naughty behavior. She claims she never managed to control me, but I do admit that right from the very beginning, I found it hard to sit still. I was very curious, and it was my ambition to travel around the world and drive a Mercedes Benz. God has been kind to me, and both my wishes have been fulfilled. But at that time, 25 years ago, these dreams seemed like castles in the air. Think of regales as entertains. It's like when your parents tell your friends that embarrassing story about the time you painted the dog or hid your broccoli. Kapil's mom loves telling him funny and wild stories about the trouble he got into when he was a kid. His mom says he was so full of energy and mischief that she couldn't get him to listen or stay out of trouble. He was like a whirlwind, always moving, always playing, and very hard to catch. Kapil agrees with his mother. Even as a tiny boy, he hated sitting in one spot. He wanted to be up and running. Do you ever feel like you have ants in your pants during a long car ride? That was Kapil Dev every single day. He wanted to see the whole world and own a very fancy, expensive car. And ambition is a big goal. Even though he was just a kid in a small town, he was dreaming of being a world traveler in a cool car. He worked hard and lucky things happened. So he actually got to travel the world, and he eventually bought that fancy car. His wishes came true. He isn't just a dreamer anymore. He actually did those things. Castles in the air is a cool way of saying daydreams that probably won't happen. Imagine trying to build a real castle out of clouds. It sounds impossible, right? That's how his dreams felt back then. When he was a little boy, those dreams seemed impossible. So Kapil is saying that it's okay to be a bit naughty or high energy, and it's great to have big dreams even if people think they are impossible. If a restless kid from a small town can travel the world, anyone can. I spent my childhood like all the other children around me, trying to bunk school and save up enough money to go to a new movie or have a plate of chicken chow mein with my friends. If we were very broke or bored, we would amuse ourselves by breaking the fruit off our neighbor's tree. I remembered one particular lady who lived down the road from us who had a beautiful garden which she took great pride in. In it, she had papaya and pomegranate trees. I now sympathize with her, but in those days, most of our time was spent planning how to get into her garden and pick the fruit off the trees. In fact, one day we had climbed over the wall and were perched on the tree when the lady walked out with some guests. She was entertaining them for tea right under the papaya tree. There were two of us on the tree and two others on the road on the other side of the wall. The two fortunate ones who had been outside ran away, but my friend and I had to sit still for nearly 2 hours till the tea party ended. That was the day I discovered the rash that papaya sap can cause. Have you ever wished the school bell would ring early so you could go play? Kapil actually tried to make that happen. When the author was a kid, they weren't exactly a teacher's pet. He spent his time trying to skip school so they could go see movies or buy a yummy snack of noodles with his friends. If he didn't have any money or anything to do, they would go and play a game that their neighbors probably hated, sneaking over to steal fruit from their trees. There was one lady nearby who loved her garden very much. She worked hard on it and grew delicious papayas and pomegranates. To the author, those trees look like a challenge. Now that Kapil Dev is an adult, he feels bad for the lady, but back then, he didn't care about her feelings. He only cared about making a secret plan to sneak in and take her fruit. One day, they finally climbed the wall and were sitting in the tree branches like birds, perched, when the lady walked outside. Even worse, she brought her friends to drink tea directly underneath the very tree that they were hiding in. Now there were 4 friends in total. 2 lucky ones were still on the street and could run away, but Kapil Dev and one other friend were stuck in the tree. They had to stay perfectly still and quiet for 2 whole hours so they wouldn't get caught. If you break a branch or leaf of a papaya tree, a white liquid called sap comes out. Because Kapil Dev was stuck in the tree for so long, that liquid got on their skin and made them very itchy and red, a rash. It was a painful way to learn that stealing fruits isn't always a great idea. I had a hard time explaining it to my mother, but I got even the next day when a neighbor went to Delhi for a couple of days. She had 92 pomegranates on the tree in her garden. She counted them every day because she knew we were up to mischief. As soon as her back was turned, we took down all 92, ate whatever we could, and distributed the rest. I remember the walloping I got from my mother when she was told about it on the neighbor's written. Now, that very lady, with great pride and affection, tells anyone who cares to listen how I had taken 92 pomegranates from her garden and left the seeds behind. So you remember that itchy rash from the papaya tree? Kapil's mom saw it and asked how he got it. He probably had to make up a silly story because he didn't want to admit he was sneaking into gardens. He felt like he lost the first time, so he wanted a win. When the neighbor lady left town to visit a big city, Kapil saw his chance to sneak back in without getting stuck in a tree again. Now the lady was very smart. She knew the local kids were troublemakers. So she actually counted every single fruit on her tree. She knew exactly how many there were, 92. The second she left, the kids went wild. They picked every single pomegranate. They ate until their tummies were full and then gave the rest away to other people, so there was no evidence left. When the lady came home and saw her tree was empty, she knew exactly who did it. She told Kapil's mom and he got a walloping. Now this is a fancy old word for getting in big trouble or getting a hitting. Now the next is the best part. Now that Kapil Dev is a famous cricket hero, the lady isn't mad anymore. She actually brags about it. She tells people happily with pride that the famous superstar once stole 92 pomegranates from her garden when he was a little boy. The other really naughty thing I remember doing is riding the police horses that were left in the huge open green areas to graze. A few of my friends and I would go there regularly and try to ride them. They were huge police horses, not used to clumsy children scrambling on to them, but despite innumerable falls and many a fright, I learned to ride and control a horse. In fact, even today, I am quite comfortable on a horse without a saddle, as that was the way I had taught myself to ride. Once we had learned to master the horse, there was one I became particularly attached to. We became more courageous and ventured out of the fenced area with the horses. Nobody would have noticed except for the fact that I bit off more than I could chew. I decided to take the horse home and house him in our back garden, which was about 700 square feet in size. The horse could probably have been tethered there, but I hadn't anticipated the struggle I would have in getting the animal through the tiny 5.5 foot by 2 foot doorway. We were caught within minutes of our arrival. The horse, of course, was duly returned, and the chiding I received from my father discouraged my venturing near the grazing fields again. So there was a big field where police officers left their horses to eat grass. The author and his friends thought, hey, let's try to ride those. It was very risky because those weren't pony ride horses. They belonged to the police. The horses were giant and didn't really like messy kids trying to climb onto their backs. The author fell off more times than he could count and got scared a lot, but he eventually figured out how to stay on. Since he was sneaking onto the horses in a field, he didn't have a saddle, the leather seat you usually use. Because he learned the hard way, he can still ride a naked horse perfectly today. He got really good at riding and even had a favorite horse he loved. He got so brave that he decided to take the horse out of the field and onto the regular streets. Bit off more than I could chew. Now, this is a funny way of saying he tried to do something that was way too difficult. He decided the best idea ever would be to bring a giant police horse home and keep it in his backyard as a pet. The garden was big enough to tie the horse up, tethered. But he forgot one thing, the door. He tried to fit a massive tall horse through a tiny door that was only 5.5 feet high. It was like trying to fit a square peg in a tiny round hole. You can't really hide a giant horse in a doorway quietly. His dad caught him immediately and gave him a chiding, a very serious scolding. He was so scared of his dad's lecture that he never went back to those horse fields again. I was never very studious and always preferred to spend my time playing games and participating in athletics where I could use up my energy. I went to a small local school that had few cricketing facilities. The games they offered at that time were basketball, football, table tennis, and hockey, probably because all they required was a ball, a couple of sticks, and a net. I was fairly good at all games, exceptionally good at athletics, but dreamed of becoming a footballer. I worked hard at that game and was selected to play for my school. Fortunately, all my friends were interested in and played cricket, and they convinced me to change my game. That is a decision I will always be grateful to them for, as they unconsciously introduced me to the game for which I was made. Now, Kapil Dev wasn't the type of kid who loved sitting at a desk doing homework. He was like a battery that was always 100% charged. He needed to run, jump, and play sports just to use up all that extra energy. His school was small and didn't have fancy grass fields or expensive gear for cricket. They mostly played sports that were cheap and easy to set up. If you had a ball and a net, you had a game. He was naturally talented at every sport, especially running and jumping, athletics. But his big dream wasn't cricket. It was football. He practiced so hard that he made it onto the school team. Even though he loved football, all his best friends were obsessed with cricket. They kept bugging him and talking him into trying cricket instead. Fortunately means he's really glad they did that. He's so thankful, grateful to his friends. Even though they didn't know it at the time, they helped him find the one sport he was perfect at. It's like he was born to play cricket and his friends were the ones who helped him realize it. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, I switched from one game to the other and began to spend a lot of my time on the cricket field. Naturally, I played in a number of inter-school tournaments and came to be noticed as a promising lad in the local press. But it was all merely fun to start with. I could never have imagined where cricket would lead me, and I certainly had no plans then of becoming a professional at all. Now, the change didn't happen overnight. It happened so slowly that you could barely notice it. One day he was playing football, and the next he found himself spending more and more hours on the cricket pitch until cricket became his main game. Because he was so athletic, he started playing in big games against other schools. He was so good that even the local newspaper started writing about him, calling him a promising lad, which is just a fancy way of saying this kid is going to be a star. Even though he was getting famous in his town, he wasn't doing it for money or fame. To him, it was still just a game he played because he enjoyed it. He wasn't stressed. He was just having a blast. Back then, if you had told him, one day you will be the captain of India and win the World Cup, he wouldn't have believed you. He had no grand plan to make cricket his job, a professional. He was just a kid playing a game he loved, and he had no idea it was going to make him a legend. This whole story shows that Kapil Dev started out just like any other kid, skipping school for snacks, getting itchy rashes from trees, trying to squeeze horses through toes, and playing sports just for fun. He didn't know he was going to be a hero. He just followed what he enjoyed. Kapil's story serves as an inspiration, reminding us that every great person started as a child with simple dreams and perhaps a bit of a rebellious streak. I do hope you have understood this lesson. In case you have any doubts, you can comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you and stay safe.